your uplifting, inspiring, and exciting destination for all things empowering in the Phoenix arts community and beyond. I'm Justin Hostin.
And I'm Lucy Atkins, and boy do we have some exciting news for you today.
Cut. Hey, Lucy, what's wrong with you? Are you having boy trouble, feeling fat? Is it that time of the month?
No, it's just, I've been feeling so sad since our wonderful production of Raw came to an end. It was so wonderful hearing all those stories and seeing all those women, and now it's over.
Oh, you're right. It was astounding. All that local and national talent coming together, working together, calling for change.
And awareness.
And compassion.
And reform.
And the reaction of the crowd.
You could see how much it meant to everyone.
To us all.
Not to mention that the Bridge Initiative was able to support the Southwest Indigenous Women's Coalition. I mean...
Cut. Anchors, we're gonna have to bring the emotion down a little bit here. This is not our tone.
Emotions? Ew!
Well, sorry. I got caught up in my passion for equality and charity and creativity. What was I thinking?
And can we get makeup out here immediately, please? They look like their children kept them up all night.
Oh, we don't actually.
Makeup! Okay, anchors, you look great. Let's go again in 3, 2, 1, action!
You and the folks at home don't need to worry, though. Roar may be over, but this is just the beginning.
Oh, that is right, Justin. And now for our special guest, who has enough creative projects in the mix to keep us on the edge of our seats for months.
How exciting. I can't wait.
It's our very own literary manager, Laurelann Porter.
Hello, it's me, your master of ceremonies. That's right, the MC's been set free and she's coming at you with another round of getting to know you. Extreme. As we like to say here on the Bridge Report, anything that can be done in 60 seconds should not be attempted without a heck of a lot of sugar and caffeine, and I've had both.
I can see that.
Now, you all must know the rules by now, but just in case you've been hiding under a rock, I'll bring you up to speed once again. Here's how the game works. I ask insightful and in no way ridiculous questions. Laurelann answers. She gets points. She potentially takes the top spot on the leaderboard and walks away with a glorious victory. Get it? Let's try a sample question. Laurelann, I'm coming to your house for dinner. What would you cook me?
Homemade lasagna?
Oh, that sounds great. Thanks for the invite. Does Saturday at 7 work for you?
Actually...
Oh, great. I'll bring the wine.
Okay.
Can I have 60 seconds on the clock? Once again, there is no clock. You're just going to have to trust me. Are you ready?
I guess so.
What is your favorite band?
Oh gosh, Royal Blood.
What is your favorite meal?
Lasagna.
How many hair colors have you had in your lifetime?
Too many.
What color is a mirror?
A mirror? Clear.
Pineapple on pizza?
No way!
How long is your daily skincare routine?
Nothing.
Boxers or briefs?
Commando.
What city have you lived the longest in?
Tempe.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Lady in Black.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Weird, goofy, silly.
Cats or dogs?
Both.
What's your flavor? What is a pet peeve of yours?
Lying.
What famous person would you like to be?
To be? Prince? Wait, he's dead.
Laurelann, your final score is 14 points!
Ooh!
Congratulations, you're the winner. Did you bring your headshot?
Ooh, no, sorry. Sorry, and I didn't bring a purple crayon either.
That's all right. As of right now, our next guest is a mystery, but you can find out who it is next time on Getting to Know You Extreme. Now, back to Lucy and Justin.
And there is still so much more to discover. She is waiting with our indiscreet interviewer, Natalie Andrews, who is going to pick her brains right now.
Hi, it's Natalie Andrews here with something you can sink your teeth into.
That's what she said!
You heard them. This is That's What She Said, the interview series where we talk about women doing amazing things told in their own words. My guest today is Laurelann Porter, here to talk about just two of her creative endeavors, Game On, Game Off, and 27 Signs. Hi, Laurelann.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So, my first question, it's the first question that I ask every guest. What really gets you going? What really keys you up?
Like in a good way?
Oh yeah.
And sometimes I forget this, and so it's good for me to be reminded. It has to be related to music. So for example, if I'm at home and I'm just too tired to get started, it's important to go put on some funk.
Ooh.
Prince is obviously pretty good. My ideal is Sexy Motherfucker, because it's the best song to dance to. I don't know if we need to bleep that out, but
Nah.
but no, music is really important to me, and so if I need that extra, or even if I'm just gonna clean the house, I have to put on like my D-Light Pandora station and then just move in my body.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
So tell us more about what your position is with the Bridge Initiative.
Okay, so I'm the literary manager, which is sort of a glorified title for most of what I do is I'm the contest coordinator.
Mhm.
So we've had, I think, 3 playwriting contests since I've been the literary manager. And so my job is to collect all of the plays, make sure that the playwrights have included a blind script so that it can be sent to the readers without them knowing who the writer is, make sure I get readers lined up so that every script can be read at least twice, and that way we, if there's any discrepancy, maybe someone loved it and someone hated it, we can get a third opinion before we decide who goes on to semifinals.
But you have the final say, eh?
Not really,
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
So the committee, which I think is usually like 4 or 5 people,
Mhm.
once we get down to about the final, I think 10 or 12, we kind of sit down and we talk through which ones really rose to the top.
Yeah.
And then within that, if things are really, really close, if there's not one clear winner, then we kind of look at what each of the scripts kind of says, or what the meaning is, or what the message is.
Mhm.
And if it's so close, if there's something that really honors kind of the mission of the bridge, then
Yeah.
we kind of lean a little bit more in that direction.
I see. So, do you have any favorite, highlight moments with the Bridge Initiative so far?
Oh gosh, there's so many.
I know,
it's really
right?
hard to pick just one. I would say probably one of the most important things, it's not really one moment,
Mhm.
but I'm originally from Arizona, and yet, I moved away, I went to college in Boston, I lived in Brazil for a while, but I came back after I had a kid, and then I went right into grad school, and so I was super, super busy with grad school, and I didn't have a lot of time to actually really get involved in the community. So being involved in the Bridge Initiative has helped me kind of find an artistic community where I feel like I'm doing important work,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm valued, I
Yeah.
feel like I have a presence.
I feel the exact same way about it. yeah.
Absolutely.
So what are your desert island plays?
Oh, that's a funny question. So I think that if I were on a desert island, I'm not sure that I'd want to read the same plays over and over. I think I'd actually want to create plays.
Ooh.
I'd want to write things, I'd want to dance, I'd want to make, even even if I was just by myself, I would want to like dance with the monkeys and make theater out of it.
Now I really want you to get trapped on a desert island so we can see what you would make in that time period.
And it would not be Castaway starring Tom Cruise.
There would be
I mean,
no
not Tom Cruise.
volleyball
Oh my
skirt in the
gosh,
process.
I mixed up my Toms. It's fun.
Yeah, we know who you're talking about. Tom
Right.
Hanks, right?
Hanks,
Yeah.
right. Hanks Cruise. Yeah, whatever.
The non-Scientologist.
Right. Is he?
I don't know. All right, so what do you have to plug today?
Okay, so I have a lot of things going on, but the two sort of main projects that I'm focusing on right at the moment are, I sort of think of them as these kind of like two hands of the same person.
Mhm.
Maybe it's because I'm a Gemini, I don't know. So I have the project that's like really fun and zany and silly.
Yeah.
And then the other project that is rooted in ethnographic research about sibling grief. So there's the one that I feel is like kind of an important one that needs to get out there because I think
Right.
there's a lot of people experiencing grief. Even if you haven't lost a sibling, I think just collectively in the society, we are experiencing so much trauma and grief that if we don't have methods to kind of process that in some sort of healthy way, then we just get stuck.
Agreed.
So 27 Signs is a project that started out when I met a woman at a conference, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. She did her PhD in nursing, and as part of her research, she interviewed 27 people who had lost a sibling. And so that's kind of the reason we're calling it 27 Signs, because it's really a way to honor those 27 people who shared their stories with her.
Mhm.
But then we also weave through her own story.
Mhm.
She lost a brother when she was, I think, about 5 years old, maybe even younger than that. I also lost a brother about 10 years ago.
Mhm.
So my story gets kind of peppered in there just a tiny bit, but it's really more like her story being woven in through all of these other
How
stories.
beautiful.
Yeah, so we're producing it at South Mountain Community College
Uh-huh.
with the help of Julie Holston, who's really great. And we are actually including a portion of the project where there are going to be particular people invited to the show who we're going to put out a call to people who have experienced the loss of a sibling so that they can see the show. And then Amy Funk, my co-author, she's going to do interviews with them to basically ask them some specific questions about what did the play do that helped you process your grief in some way. So then there's actually going to be, we're going to have something able to be published out of it.
Yeah.
And then additionally, when Julie and Amy and I were talking about how we wanted to approach this, I don't know what they call themselves, like the counseling office at South Mountain, they're going to be providing some folks on hand so that after the performance, we're going to have what we call a tranquility room.
Ooh.
So guests will be invited they can journal, they can write on a wall, they can just sit and be silent, there will be refreshments. There will also be counselors available if they want to talk about anything. Because we do realize when you're to invite someone, let's go see a play about grief, it's kind of like a hard sell.
Yeah.
And also, we never know who's going to be touched by it in a way that makes them kind of just emotionally really vulnerable at the time.
And you never know who's searching for an outlet, who might see that and be like, oh, that's a really cool, interesting idea, and I really need that right now.
Yeah, and every place we have done it, so actually, in your earlier question about do I get the final say, the year that I submitted 27 Signs to the Bridge contest, I had to recuse myself from writing.
Oh, I see.
So I actually didn't even participate.
No input that year. Interesting.
So that year, 27 Signs was a finalist. We did a reading at my university, Benedictine University in Mesa. We did a workshop at Amy's University at Illinois Wesleyan. Then Amy and I went to a conference in Canada where we kind of worked on some very specific aspects of the masks that we want to use to kind of test an idea we were working with. Then I also worked with some folks at Pauling Theater Exchange, a director who's movement-based and a performer who's movement-based, to again kind of work a little further on how we're using the masks. So it's been through this process, and every single time, everybody who either participates in it, or even a lot of the audiences also, talk about, kind of how much it affects them and how positive an experience is. So we do think we're in the right direction because all the signs seem to be pointing to that. This is one of the signs. This is one of those projects that I think like every step of the way it's been very easy. I've
Sure.
never had to like push this project,
Mhm.
which to me kind of says it's something that needs to be out there.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree with that. Yeah. Okay.
So the other project I'm working on is an idea that my partner came up with. I guess it was about 5 years ago, maybe it was 10 years ago actually. He had this crazy idea that he was going to look at this old game show that we used to love watching as kids and make a script in a kind of like noises off Backstage version of
Oh my
what we
goodness.
imagined all of those characters
Yes.
were doing backstage. So it's very silly. We pretty much thought all of those panelists on those celebrity game shows were probably getting schnockered backstage.
Yes.
So we have this idea that it's set in, you know, craft services, which is actually a bar. And then what we're doing it once a month. We are changing the location every month, so every month it's at a different venue. This month it's at the Four Creeks Tasting Brewery on Wilson Street, but we're also looking at venues in Glendale, in Mesa, in Tempe, in Phoenix, so that we can kind of circulate through the valley.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's really kind of a comedy improv show and a game show and an interactive like food and drink.
What's
event.
there not to love about it?
I don't know. I think people will
Yet to
really love
find.
it. So come on out, join us for Game On, Game Off, the last Saturday of every month.
Awesome. So one last question. I've been trying to figure it out because we're producing this show on the 14th.
All right.
So what's the deal with roaring?
Well, I mean, of course, if you want to go to Helen Reddy's "I'm Woman, Hear Me Roar," that
Yeah.
I'm sure is where the inspiration came from. But actually, the one of the reasons I am particularly interested in this idea of roar is that there's so much crazy nonsense and shenanigans going on in our world right now. I feel like if you're not enraged, you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
And so for me, looking at whether we've got children in cages or whether we are destroying the ecosystem and our ability to even breathe oxygen on planet Earth for the next generation,
Yeah.
I'm angry and I want to do something about it. And I was talking with a friend when I was in New York in June, and she's like, why am I not at the border helping feed or bring families together? And maybe that's not my particular skill set,
Right.
all I'm doing is doing theater. But actually, that's not a small thing.
No.
I think that the more we can try to come together in small groups as humans and help each other kind of just think through and have empathy for each other and find ways to solve in smaller communities the issues that are going on, I mean, that's got to be a step in the right direction.
We have to have common experiences in order to move forward, and with social media and the internet, it's just really hard to communicate unless you're there in the same room with somebody.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
theater is really important.
So let's roar.
Let's roar!
Roar!
Thank you, Laurelann, for
No,
being
thank
here
you.
today.
Great, thank you.
I'm Natalie Andrews. This is Laurelann Porter, and that's what she said. Now, back to Lucy and Justin.
Come back again next week for more news the way you like it. From a well-presented, totally detached, and incredibly sensible news team.
Ow! Ow, ow, ow! Full silence emergency! Ow, help, help, help! Ow, 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 ow!
Oh God, wrap it up quick.
But for now, it's goodbye from me.
And me.
And me! Props!
And us.
And all of us at the Bridge Report.